Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is David Lund, and I am the Hotel Financial Coach. And Rupesh, thanks for inviting me to make this video for your followers. It's my pleasure to do that. And I'm recording this from my home in Portland, Maine, and it's the middle of May 2020. And we're right in the middle of the pandemic. I believe this is week 9 from a stay-at-home point of view. And I just want to wish everyone well, and I know that this has been a really, really hard time for a lot of people in our industry. A lot of people are really hurting. A lot of owners are hurting. But we'll get through it. I don't know what the new abnormal is going to look like, but we always recover. There is no other way. So with that, I want to talk to you today about 3 concepts for better financial results inside of your hotel. So I work with clients only in the hotel business, and I help them figure out the financial leadership piece. And I always tell them it's not accounting, it's business thinking. We leave the accounting up to the accountants. But understanding some of the processes that we need to means that we do need to understand a little bit of that world and how it works. So I'm going to outline 3 key concepts that I believe all of you should be employing inside of your hotels. And if you don't do them and you can use some of these, they're going to be very helpful. They're going to help you be more profitable, be more on top of your business, be more purposeful with what you're doing. And I know that for a lot of you right now, financial reports are a challenge. So we're going to get right into the 3 things you can do. First thing is share the financials. I know this is probably counterintuitive to what a lot of you think, but if you want to have a financially engaged team in your hotel, if you want the managers to follow you when it comes to the finances, you need to share the financial statements with them. There's no other way that they can actually help you and learn and contribute unless you're sharing those financial statements with them. And I know a lot of people think that sharing the financials means that you're giving away the secrets and the keys to the car, but quite frankly, the financial statement only serves 2 purposes. 1, it tells us how we're doing relative to budget or last year. Basically tells us the score. And 2, if we use it properly, the financial statement will tell us exactly where the problem is inside of our business, where we need to look to fix things. So share the financials. Treat your managers, the people who have P&L responsibilities inside of your hotel, as adults. Don't worry that they're going to see how much money you make, because the purpose of sharing these financials with them is to help you manage your business better. And part of that is having an engaged team. And the only way you can create that engagement around the financials is by sharing. So that's the first tip. So when we look at sharing the financials, really what we're talking about is showing our leaders that they make a difference and that they have impact. And you can probably remember what it was like in your career when someone brought you along and helped you. It has a powerful, powerful influence in how you showed up and the contribution you're willing to make. So by taking people under your arm and helping them and educating them on the financials, you're really helping yourself. And today, more than ever, leaders want to work in businesses that are going to help develop them. That's what they want. So it's a key strategy you need to employ. And I know for myself, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, that the people that helped me during my career, the GMs that I worked with, the other leaders that helped bring me along and helped educate me, there's a debt there. And I'd be willing to do just about anything for these people because of what they were able to help me with. And that's what you have the ability to create inside of your business as well. And a key aspect to being able to do that is by sharing the financial statements. Show them that you trust them. Show them that you want them to be a partner inside how you manage your business, that you're giving them the tip on the shoulder, the vote of confidence. It will make a world of difference inside of your business. So tip 1, share the financial statements. Number 2, use accrual accounting. So in our world, oh, by the way, that's not me, that's Ben Affleck from the movie The Accountant. But it looks like me just a little bit, so I thought I'd put it in there. But two different types of accounting systems. There's the cash basis and there's the accrual basis. We don't want to use the cash basis. So what's the difference? Well, if you're sitting watching this video right now and you get your financial statements once a year at the end of the year from your accountant, and the rest of the time you really don't know how much profit you've made, and I don't mean by looking at your bank balance, I mean by looking at your financials, then you're using the cash basis of accounting. But if you produce a monthly financial statement and you're able to look at your profitability every single month, then you're using probably the accrual basis of accounting. And the analogy for the cash basis is the best one is the shoebox. So if money goes into the shoebox, when money comes in, it goes in the shoebox. When money comes out, when we pay bills, we take money out of the shoebox. If there's money in the shoebox, I've made a profit. If there isn't, then I'm in a loss position. And that's your bank account. And if you're operating your business that way, you need to stop doing that. And you need to switch to the accrual basis of accounting. The accrual basis of accounting takes into account matching all the revenues with the expenses. And in order to do this, you need to employ a couple of processes, but they're not complicated. I work with clients all the time to move them off of the cash basis of accounting onto the accrual basis. Because what we want to be able to do is produce a financial statement every month that tells us how we're doing. And again, if you're sitting in your hotel or at home right now wondering at the end of May what the financial picture is and you really don't know, then you need to change that. So when we look at the accrual basis of accounting, one of the cornerstones is the matching principle, where we match revenues and expenses. And what the matching principle says is that it doesn't matter from a reporting point of view when the money comes in or when the money goes out. We're going to match revenues and expenses. So inside of your business, you'll need to set up in order to do this. One would be prepaids. So for instance, property taxes is a good one. We pay that probably twice a year in most places. That payment needs to be put into a prepaid account, and the balance of the payment that belongs to the subsequent months of the year needs to be amortized over those number of months so that we can match revenues and expenses and have a meaningful statement. The other aspects are deferrals and accruals. And prepaids are a type of deferral, but there are other deferrals. So deferrals basically anything that you pay for now that belongs to a future period. The second thing we want to be able to manage effectively are accruals. We want to know when we've actually incurred an expense rather than only when we've paid the bill. Good examples of this are things that are delivered that we consume this month that the invoice doesn't come for a couple of weeks. Well, if I'm closing the books for the month of May, I need to know everything revenue-wise that came into my hotel, and that's quite easy to determine with our property management systems. But I also need to know what all my expenses are, what my payroll and my expenses were. And if you don't use accruals for your expenses, then you're never going to be able to have a proper cutoff. Same with your payroll. Unless you're paying on a calendar month, you need to do an accrual every single month for your payroll. So you're matching the right amount of payroll in the month of May to the actual revenues earned in May. And the payroll calendar doesn't line up with the actual calendar. So we need to use accruals. But really, those are the key things you need to put into place to be able to create a monthly financial statement. So the third pro tip, the first two kind of build on that, sharing the financials and using the accrual basis of accounting, is we want to be able to prepare and use an annual forecast and monthly forecasts. So here's a template that I use with clients. This is the top level sheet. And you can see right away that we can see the entire year in one picture. And when we go from the top of the sheet down, we can see that we've got the 44 rooms in this hotel. So we have the rooms available, we have the rooms occupied. We've determined what the occupancy is going to be. Get to how do we do that in a minute. What the RevPAR is. And then from there, the room's revenue, the room's payroll, the room's expenses, the room's profit, the overhead expenses, the A&G, sales and marketing, maintenance, leading up to GOP, and below that, the financial expenses, the property taxes, leading up to the cash flow or the EBITDA for the property. And looking at all of this in one picture really helps us look at where we need to improve either our revenues or reduce our expenses to impact the profitability. So, it's great that we've got a budget. And I think one thing that's really key about the budget is the process we use to put it together. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to budget your revenues. And the key area there, obviously, is budgeting your room revenue. Now, I always tell clients the same thing when it comes to budgets. There's only one thing we know for sure about the budget, and that's this. It's wrong. Every single time, it's wrong. It's never going to be right. We're either going to be too high or too low. So why do we bother to set the budget? Well, once we set the budget for the revenues and the payrolls and the expense, we get a picture of what we think we're going to do inside of our business. And then from there, we get to make more decisions about how we spend our money, the initiatives we put in place to drive revenues, because we've actually got a plan. There's an old saying that goes like this: if you don't have a map, any road will take you where you want to go. We don't want to operate our business that way. We want to have a map. We want to have a plan. We want to execute every single month and move throughout the year, knowing where we're at year to date from a revenue and a profitability point of view, so that we can achieve our goals at the end of the year. So the first step to doing the budget is to do the room revenue by month. And underneath this, you're going to want to figure out what that means by market segment. So number of rooms occupied, the rates, the RevPAR for the rooms division. So I always recommend to clients, if you haven't done this process before, go back at least 2 or 3 years and map out what you actually did in each one of the Januaries, Februaries, Marches, etc. Based on the segments, based on whether it's corporate or leisure, or based on whether it's internet merchant model or it's coming through the brand website, however you get your business, you have to figure out your segments. And then from there, you've got to determine what you think it's going to be each month in the following year. Once you've done that, you've figured out what your room revenue is. Congratulations. The second step is you need to figure out your payroll. And right now, someone inside of your hotel is doing the schedule every week, every 2 weeks. Doing the schedule for the entire year, once you have the occupancy by month, is not difficult. It's formula driven, probably in most cases. Hours per room occupied. We have fixed staffing in some areas. Some areas we have variable staffing. But once we figure out what that picture looks like, driving the payroll based off the detailed budget, based off the hourly rates you pay people, adding the burden on top is not a difficult exercise. The third part of the process is do your expenses. I always tell people to zero base their expenses. Don't use a percentage, don't use cost per room occupied. So what are zero-based expenses exactly? Well, I always use the analogy of a grocery list. If I send you to the grocery store with $200 and say, go get some food, you're going to come back with $200 worth of food. Great. But did you get what you really wanted? Did you get what we need? Probably not. So I'm going to send you to the grocery store with a grocery list. And I'm going to tell you this is how much money you can spend on each thing. That's a zero-based expense budget. So you need to dig through your payables, dig through your invoices, and determine what you spend your money on. Do it in the uniform system of accounts for the lodging format. You can buy the book on Amazon, buy the 10th edition, not the 11th edition. It's probably about $300 for the new one. It's probably like $30 for the 10th edition. But it tells you what expenses go into which department so that you can properly do a departmental forecast and budget based on the proper format for the uniform system of accounts for the lodging industry. In this case, we're looking at the maintenance expenses for this hotel, and we can see that the various expenses lined out in this screenshot represent what's going on inside of that hotel, including the energy. But once we've done this once and done the homework of digging through our expenses and putting this out in detail in zero-based, then we have the ability, when we need to actually look at reducing things, we know exactly where things go. We're no longer just sort of melting everything together. We're very precise about where things are inside of our budget. So we know what's in the middle of our financial statement. That's invaluable, especially in a crisis like now. Knowing what you spend your money on and knowing what options you have is invaluable. Okay, so then from there, we get a very full and robust picture of what our budget is for the year. And now, how do we use this budget throughout the year? Well, we take our monthly reporting and we're going to actually update every single month as we go through the year. So January, instead of becoming January's budget, will become January's actual. And when I'm doing that, I'm going to layer in what's my forecast for February, March, and April. And then every single month throughout the year, as I move forward throughout the year, I'm always forecasting the next 3 months, and I'm always updating the picture so I can see at the end of the year what my profitability is. And if I don't like the direction it's going in, I can make adjustments. I can take a look at how I'm promoting the hotel. I can take a look at my staffing. I can take a look at my expenses. By detailing it out like this, it allows you the ability to actually manage your business in a very linear fashion. And you're going to find that it's not difficult, and you're going to find that it's fun, and you're going to find that you're actually going to really enjoy it because it's going to give you a level of confidence and control that you've never ever had before. So those are the 3 tips. Share the financials, use the accrual basis of accounting, do budgets and forecasts. And if you need any help with any of that, a great resource is my website. I also have my contact information on the presentation. But from there, I really give you some things that you can use inside of your business straight away. And if you're interested in any of these tools or treats, simply send me an email and ask me for them. And I'll respond and I'll send them to you. But there's a lot of really valuable things like flow-through spreadsheets, productivity tools, also understanding how to do the forecast in detail, reading those blogs. So there's a treasure trove of information that I give out. All you need to do is send me an email. On top of that, go to my website, sign up for my weekly blog. You'll automatically get a copy of my guidebook, The 7 Secrets to Creating a Financially Engaged Leadership Team in Your Hotel. I barely scratched the surface of what you kind of need to do today. This is really just the tip of the iceberg, but the guidebook will give you a much bigger, richer picture. Again, it's free. Just go to my website. I don't spam you or sell your name to anyone. All I'll do is send you a brand new original blog written by me every Monday morning. And then how else can I help you? Well, again, I have a wealth of information on my blog. I've actually got over 200 weeks of blogs now out there that you can read. All kinds of stuff about everything to do with financial leadership inside of hotels. Follow me on LinkedIn. I post stuff there all the time. I know Rupesh is really big on LinkedIn, so that means you're big on LinkedIn. So find me, follow me. I'll follow you back. I do in-person financial leadership workshops for your team. So I come to your hotel, I teach them how to do all of this stuff, and probably not going to be doing much of that in the next couple of months. But once the world gets back together again, talk to me. I'll come to your hotel. I'll come to your leadership meeting. I'll come to your company meeting, your association meeting. I do a one-to-one mentorship program. So Hospitality Financial Leadership, it's a 10-hour program where I teach individuals through everything they need to know to be a better financial leader, to be a better hotelier with greater financial skills. And then I have a self-study video course. So there's links to that on my website. There's a page on my website for the video course. It's very reasonably priced. It's professionally produced, not like what I just said there. And finally, I'm doing financial leadership online workshops now. So have a look at those. There's some great stuff as well. And I do consulting on financial statement design, financial leadership concepts. One thing I did want to talk about was my new workshop online menu. I have 10 hours of workshops available. And I only do these live for clients. I don't have any recordings. So if you're interested in me coming and working with your team online and training them, now's a great time to do it. It's very reasonably priced, professionally done, and it's a great resource for you to help emerge from this terrible time with something really positive going on inside of your business. And I always tell people too, it's really important to understand that financial leadership is not an expense, it's an investment. An investment is something that returns money, much more money than you put in over a long period of time. So that's what it's all about. Rupesh, thanks again for inviting me in and having me speak with your people. It's been a true pleasure, and I hope what I presented today is helpful to people. And I'm a resource. You can call me and have a free consultation anytime. And with that, I want to say thank you, and I'm going to end the recording, and I wish all of you the very best of luck in the recovery, and take care. Bye-bye.